Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I know it's another van video, but this is going to be the sort of one for all guide really. I want to make it quite clear actually. I'm not trying to run some sort of smear campaign against Bailey. We like the van, we like the layout. It's just the build quality, the materials used, and probably what you would call like duty of care to your customers. You know, bringing them out of the factory looking like this. With bits hanging off here and there and stuff. It's just not acceptable. There's probably loads of vans that have had the same issues. They've been rectified. They're now back on forecourts as used vans. So this is really almost like a buying guide really. This is going to be the final video. I'm not going to do any more on it. But I just had so many people asking questions really, this, that, the other. I'm not an expert whatsoever. So I'm just going to show you all the issues, all the problems that we've had with the van, and then you can almost use that as a guide. If you're going to go and buy a Bailey yourself, a Adamo or a Laura, this will apply to all of those. So at least you can go into it with the knowledge, and you can check all these things. And if they're all fine, then brilliant. Buy the van and hopefully you won't have any problems. So we'll get into it, but firstly also I just wanted to say a big thanks to everyone that commented, messaged, you know, with their own stories, with information. There was a really big response, the biggest response we've had from any of our videos actually, and being quite a small channel, it was a bit overwhelming at first. You know, every time I looked at my phone there was another comment, and but it's great. There's a community, there's people that are willing to help share their knowledge, spread the word, and hopefully we can all make better informed decisions when we're going to buy motorhomes. So that said, all that out of the way, we'll get cracking with the first few things, and I'm just going to run through the whole lot. I don't want to take too long, but at least you can see what you're going to be looking at when you go to buy one of these. So we're going to start on the outside because it's probably got the fewest things, but first of all is underneath the bonnet. So as some people will know, there was problems with water ingress coming underneath into the engine bay. You can see where it's dripped and made it dirty on the top here. That's from the windscreen section, but there used to be real issues with the two bonnet vents here. They've rectified it a bit by putting these rubber pipes on, but one issue that we really have is there used to be a filter inside here on the older Transits. What they've done now is they've put this plastic mesh over it instead of a filter, and this actually is part of the air circulation system, so anything that can get through there can actually come into the cab. The in-cab pollen filter or cabin filter doesn't block everything out. So when we were in Scotland, we had midges coming in the bonnet, coming in through the bonnet vents, coming in through the grille, and they were actually going inside this and swarming inside the cab. I'll put some images over this so you can see, but it was pretty horrific. So yeah, very, very annoying. One of the main things that annoyed me actually was the fact that they couldn't even stick the Adamo sticker central. The gap on that side is much bigger than the other side, and you would think if they can't even put a sticker on in the right place, what hope have they got for building an actual motorhome? And another thing whilst we're up here, this plastic panel that runs along the middle, on a lot of Adamo models, that has actually been separating, and the bottom bit with the Adamo sticker has been sticking out like a bottom lip. Some people have said the fix or the recall for it actually inserts some plastic clips, but when I took it back for the recall, they said it was actually just a tube of silicone. So they've literally just resealed this entire strip. We never had the problem anyway, which is strange. I mean, we've had loads of problems with the van, but we never had that problem, which is strange. So yeah, we missed that one out, feeling a bit left out. But yeah, so that's been resealed. We've had the sunroof done, but I'll talk about that once we're inside. Some other things on the outside. So we have the electric flap, the latch has gone inside that, so when you're driving it just flaps about, usually in about that sort of position as you're going down the motorway. You have to give it a good whack to try and stick it. We've got, unfortunately, these marks here. When the window's open and you open the door won't open to its full position while the window's there. So basically you get to about sort of here and it bangs against the window. It doesn't matter how many times you try and remember, we always try and remember, but inadvertently do it, you know, all the time, unfortunately. So maybe some sort of rubber pad or something, but it just seems like a bit of a poor design. Having a window where the door's going to open. I'm sure space was an issue, but there should be something they could have done, you would think, or don't let the door open that far, really. Moving on to the bottom of the door, there's over an inch of silicone around the bottom of the door, and every journey when we get back, that is black, and you have to absolutely scrub it. On some of the later models, people have said that that's not there anymore, so maybe they've made a better fit for it. Maybe ours is just one of the early models and they didn't really know what to do, but unfortunately, even though it has got a giant amount of silicone, it's not very well done. As you can see, it's a bit of a mess, and trying to get the dirt out of all of those little bits is an absolute nightmare. You may be able to see this staining down the side of the door. This is actually all over the van. It doesn't matter what you do, you can't get rid of it. It's like it's in the fiberglass. So I have no idea what it is. It runs around the entire van, all the way around. It's around all of the light fittings. It's just, I don't know what it is. I mean, it's annoying. It's not the end of the world. It's not anything that's a structural problem, but it is irritating. What else have we got on the outside of the van? Ah, yes, the back window. When it rains quite a lot and it puddles on the roof, as soon as you drive off, it all runs down the back of the van and floods inside the van and floods the worktop that's at the back. So that's a bit of an annoyance. I'm not sure if it's actually a fault or whether the water or the sheer volume of water is overwhelming the window. Something we need to look at. I'll mention it to the guys when we come back next time. Now, down the driver's side, we have the water inlet. This is broken as well, same as the electric one, so as you're driving it just flaps about like this, which I mean isn't great. You can see the dirt that's got there already. You don't really want all that dirt coming in there, do you? Something else, it's not really an issue, but I found it quite funny. It's all over the van, near where the graphics are. You've got these permanent marker lines where they've drawn permanent marker on the walls of the van to line the stickers up, but they haven't even bothered to wipe it off, which is crazy, really. I mean, if you did that at work and someone come around and checked it, you'd get a right old telling off, wouldn't you? Now, I'm not sure if you can see this or not. I'm having to do it extended with the camera, but the silicone around the roof aerial is absolutely horrendous. How anyone got away with doing that, I don't know. I mean, it literally looks like they've emptied a whole tube out on there. It's crazy, really. You might notice the solar panels out there. We have got quite a decent system fitted, I would say. It certainly served us well. I am going to do a separate video which will feature all of the upgrades that we've done, because, you know, out of the factory there's no way you could go off grid with this. The solar panel they give you is useless. The battery is too small. You get a few hours, you know, if you're lucky, but definitely you need some sort of upgrade if you're going to go off grid. Something also worth remembering when you're buying one of these or anything that's on a transit cab, check the windscreen for chips, cracks and splits. I thought that we were unique and we had to wait 3 months for a windscreen, but I've met a few other people who've got Adamos and they had exactly the same problem. A couple we met whilst we were travelling around the UK were just leaving for Croatia, and they had to leave with a big crack in their windscreen because there's just no windscreens. Ford haven't released the blueprints, if you like, to the independent companies to make third-party screens. So everybody has to get their windscreen from Ford, which has to be manufactured in Germany and then shipped over. And hopefully, I mean, it might have been rectified now, I don't know, but a couple of weeks ago there was still 3-month waiting list for a windscreen. So, I mean, imagine if you'd smash a windscreen, that's it, no van for 3 months. It's absolutely ridiculous. Another thing that we've been having issues with is the collision alert system and the lane keeping alert system. It's a little sensor and a camera that is behind the rear view mirror. I believed at first we may have got some dirt on the camera or the windscreen, but it's not. It just randomly does it, and it makes a horrendous noise. I've took it to Ford. Obviously at Ford it behaved perfectly, you know, just like when you've got a stomach ache and you go to the doctor and it goes away just before you see them. It's exactly the same. So the collision alert system is really bloody annoying. The chime and everything, it hardly works. when it does work, it'll work for the day, and then the next day it won't work. So that's really, really annoying. Also, the temperature gauge, sometimes it shows up, sometimes it doesn't show up. It chooses as and when. There's no pattern to that. It's just the light doesn't light up, so you don't know what temperature the engine is. Most vehicles don't even have temperature sensors on them anymore on the dash, so it's not a big deal. It's just a little inconsistency in the reliability and build quality, I would say. Something also that I thought was a problem, but turns out after speaking to Ford, it's not actually a problem. These 2-litre Ecotec engines, you know, they have the wet belt issues and a few other issues I'll run through in a minute. But basically, they use just over a litre of oil for every sort of 8,000 or 9,000 miles. So you really need to check your oil and keep on top of it. The service interval is 25,000 miles and 2 years. Which is ludicrous. All the Ford mechanics I spoke to said service it every 10,000 miles. And, you know, while you're under warranty, you're kind of obliged to use a Ford main dealer, or at least Ford OEM parts at a reputable garage. So if you're going to go to a Ford dealer for a service every sort of 10,000 miles, you're looking at presently £485 for the service. And you know, it's just something to take into consideration. You know, a lot of people can afford these if they're getting them on finance or even buying them outright, but it's the maintenance. You know, it's kind of like a boat. A lot of people can afford them, but not a lot of people can afford to run them, and it's a similar sort of thing. You just need to know this expense before you buy one, which moves us on to the wet belt. Everyone knows about the wet belt. It's not just transits. You know, everyone goes, oh, the Ford Transit, the wet belt, don't touch a Transit. There's loads of vehicles, Toyotas, Citroens, Peugeots. There's loads of vehicles that have wet belts. In order to meet the targets for the Euro 6 emissions category, most manufacturers are having to get a wet belt so that it's ultra lubricated, the least amount of friction, therefore running a lot cleaner. They're an absolute pain in the backside. No one likes them, no one wants them. The fact is it's here and we're stuck with it. So the original service interval or change interval for the cam belts was meant to be about 100,000 miles, I believe. But after speaking to the mechanics at the Ford dealership, they said you want to get it done every 50,000 miles. So basically cut in half, and about every 4 or 5 years. And it's not cheap. I mean, you're talking over £1,000 at most Ford places to get this done. So, you know, you've got to bear that in mind. Every sort of four-ish years, you're going to have that done. If the belt does degrade and the pieces start dropping to the bottom and blocking up the oil pump or anything like that, then you're in serious trouble. I have actually had one of these Transits go on the motorway. It was a hire van back in my removal days, and it was 2 years old, and the engine just died, and then that was it. Back to Ford for a whole new engine. So you really need to keep on top of the maintenance, keep checking the oil, keep checking the water, make sure your cam belt's been done, and just keep up with it all. And if you're going to buy one of these, obviously second hand, or even on a forecourt, sometimes these can sit for a year before they sell, even when they're brand new. So you need to ask the questions, you know, servicing, oil, all of that sort of stuff, and make sure it's had the right oil. Some of them have 030, some of them have 530. The correct oil will be on a metal plate under the bonnet. Don't always trust the manual. Certainly don't always trust the internet. Everyone knows everything. But I phoned Ford directly, and it took 3 days for them to tell me which oil to put in it, which is mad if Ford don't even know. But it is on a plate in the engine bay, so you check there, check the oil levels, get the servicing done when it's meant to be done, and you shouldn't have any problems. So you will have already seen in the other videos about the way it fits around the cab. So check this if you're going to buy one. Make sure that this all fits properly. You haven't got weird gaps everywhere. There's a lot of wind noise that comes in through some of these where they haven't been fitted properly. But it's the same all the way around. Check the shelves. They're wobbly anyway. They're just naturally not built very well. But make sure everything sticks on properly. Things aren't sticking out like this, because something so simple like that is an absolute pain in the backside to get fixed. Yeah, and just make sure everything joins up correctly. You know, you haven't got massive gaps like this. Underneath the seats, you can't really see it properly here, but I've got foam stuff down there because there was a gaping hole straight to the outside. Basically underneath here, it goes down and then it goes back, and then there's a hole to the outside. And it was the same down the sides. I've had to put foam down the sides because there's massive gaps. And honestly, even with the heating on full blast in the winter, the van was basically unusable. I had to seal all the way along the bottom of there because there was a gap. The cold air was coming through. The poor dog sleeping in her dog bed on the floor, she was absolutely frozen. She was begging to come in our beds. because the cold breeze, and when you're driving it comes up through the floor. We even had a wasp come up through the floor because it had got sucked into that gap underneath. So most of it's sealed. I've left some gaps, obviously for ventilation, because you don't want the whole thing sealed up. But it's pretty shocking. So check that. Check all around. You can always feel if there's a cold draft coming through there. Definitely worth doing. With the doors underneath the sofas in the front, this one I've actually fixed in place because it was annoying me so much. But basically you've got these doors, the hinges are crap. I don't know if you can really see the movement there, but the hinges are so rubbish and they're not really fitted properly. They just wobble like mad. You tighten the screws up, 2 days later they're all back out loose again. And I mean, to be honest, underneath there, that's just our battery inverter and PPT and DC to DC charger, all that sort of stuff's under there. I'm going to do a separate video on that and show all the upgrades that we've had done, because it really was a bit of a game changer, to be honest. I mean, we haven't plugged in, well, I'll tell a lie, we did plug in once while we were doing our around the UK trip, but that was really just to get the cells in the battery balanced. But we haven't had to plug in since about January, really. We've always got power, even on cloudy days. It's pretty good. But yeah, so basically all the hinges around the whole van, you pretty much have to regularly tighten. I don't know if they've used the wrong screws. I was thinking about just dripping a little bit of super glue on the thread and then screwing them back in, see if that does something. Well, this brings us on to one of the biggest problems that we have, and I still haven't got to the bottom of it. In the Adamo and a lot of other vehicles, you have Lippert electric beds, drop down beds. The ones we have, I believe, are called the Euro or the Euro Loft electric beds. And basically the noise is ridiculous. When you're outside the vehicle, you could be 20-30 meters away and you can hear the beds going up and down. So God knows what it's like for other people next to us on the campsite. But I've mentioned it before, but I haven't actually recorded it. So today I'm going to show you what the beds sound like. So you've got to flip this little panel over here, wait for the light to flash. It stops there, which is the upper setting, and then if you press the button again, I didn't remove the cushions on the other side, but I think you can get the gist. Now you'd think that would be down to lubrication, but they've been lubricated. Obviously you can't lubricate the belts. They're basically seat belts that just wrap around like a little pulley. So I'm assuming the noise would be from the belts tightening. I don't know. So I'm going to show you the back one now. I'll just switch that over. Now this one we have replaced the mattress on, but the weight of the mattress is not different to the original mattress, because we were worried about how much they can actually lift. But we've read through the manuals, and actually you could probably have about 4 or 5 mattresses on there, and it's still supposed to lift it okay. One thing also worth mentioning, Mandy said this, definitely something to mention, is when this rear bed is made up, at the moment it's just got one quilt there, but when you've got pillows and stuff on there, the bed actually sticks down over the top of the wardrobe. So you actually can't open the wardrobes or this top cupboard if the bed's properly made up with pillows, which is a bit silly. So she has to take her pillows off and stick them in the wardrobe just so that we can access the cupboards. Right, let's give this bed a go. I can't go all the way down because I haven't removed the cushions. Silly. Oh, hello. This happens a lot. You get to the middle position and then it won't go down. So these are apparently smart beds, and you know what happens when something has the word smart in front of it. Basically they go down to their higher position and they think they're already down at the bottom, so they won't go down anymore. So then you have to fiddle around taking the fuse out, you have to try and reset the smart system. It's an absolute pain. I don't know if anyone else has this problem. If you've got an Adamo, anyone that's commented previously that's got an Adamo, let us know in the comments if you have this problem. And also the noise, because I can't think this is normal. I mean, when you're sat on the bed, I know I'm a big guy, but Mandy is not a big girl. She's a small girl. And when she gets on there, it's creaking and moving, and it shouldn't be like that. It's supposed to be able to hold like 2 people. I know you wouldn't fit 2 people on it, but it's meant to hold 2 people. Yeah, that's definitely not going down. So there you have it. That is the noisy beds. I'll see in a minute when I edit the video if you can pick it up or not, but I can assure you it's very bloody loud. Again, the wall, I've talked about this before, the wall is wonky, so you definitely want to check that if you're going to pick one of these up, because the wall is wonky. That's messed up the bottom cupboard. So go and check to make sure that your panels are not loose and that they fit. I don't know if you can see the sides here or not, but it's sticking right out. And also it leaves a gap down this side, and you can see the screw where it's not screwed into the wall. And it gives you a very wonky panel up here. So if you're going to look at one of these, it probably goes for most of them. And a lot of them have got these compressor fridges now as well. So yeah, just check all that and make sure it's okay. Also, all of these little clips everywhere, these little plastic clips, they quite often come loose, like this one, so you have to push them back in because they cover the screws. You've got these blooming stickers everywhere that just constantly peel off. I had to go to Bailey and buy a whole new pack of stickers just to replace all the ones that had fallen off. But yeah, not great. Stickers over everything is not ideal, is it really? But so coming back to the sunroof, we have had ours repaired under the recall, and the whistling sunroof that Bailey have had for about 8 years that they can fix in the factory and they choose not to, we have had done. So they've put packers on the back of the brackets so the bracket sticks out further, so the handle latches on better. They've put new rubber seals all the way around. We no longer have whistling, and the sunroof doesn't open itself every time a lorry goes past, which is great, because the first time it happens you absolutely poop yourself. There's a loud bang, a great noise of suction, and you discover your sunroof's open. And it tends to happen when you're on motorways and things like that, so it's not ideal. There is a prolific use of double-sided Velcro in this van. The backs of all of the seats are stuck on with double-sided Velcro, and all that happens, I mean, if anyone's ever stuck sticky on the back of fabric before, it doesn't stick. These, when it gets warm, these just peel off. As you can see, it's just flappy rubbish bits of fabric. Staple gunned. I showed you in the last video, so you can go and have a look if you want. I'm not going to take it off now, but basically it's just fabric and a bit of sponge stapled onto a bit of plywood or balsa wood. They've just whacked some double-sided sticky Velcro on there and stuck it to the wall. They've actually fallen off numerous times. I've actually put more double-sided Velcro on myself, but it still doesn't really work properly. You never bodge a bodge. If you're going to do it properly. So that'll be on the list to get done properly. Something that isn't necessarily Bailey related, it might be Thetford related, or it could be the Bailey fitters when they fitted it, I don't know, but our cooker seems to have been fitted incorrectly. It wobbles, lets all the heat out, and it is down at the bottom. I can't remember which side it is now. I think it's this side. One of the rivets is either broken or is not even there. So we need to get that done actually, because that lets so much heat out, which moves us on to this little plate that they've screwed on. This was a recall to stop the worktop from deforming due to the heat, and obviously where we've got this dodgy cooker door, we have even more heat coming out. But we've had the plate put on. This was a recall. I mean, it's a real shame they couldn't just countersink the screws in there. It looks awful. I might actually take that off and fit it properly, because it's pretty terrible, and if you catch yourself on there, it's actually quite sharp. An eagle-eyed viewer noticed that and commented, and I have to say you're absolutely right. It's a piece of metal with a couple of holes drilled in it. It's awful. They could have at least countersunk it. I mean, honestly. When you're going to go and have a look at one of these, check around the sink, because they have this sort of sticky seal. I've actually trimmed this one up because it was bothering me so badly, but all the way around the sink it's got this like sticky stuff. I mean, it's not what I'm used to using. If you're sealing a sink in a house, I don't know if maybe it's flexible or something, but it was all sticking out all over the place. It wasn't set properly. So yeah, check that. It's only a simple thing, but you know, if that's sloppy, it probably means there's other things in there that's sloppy. Also, the actual sink plug hole itself was over to the side. It was all, I mean, how anyone didn't notice that, I don't know. So I had to unscrew it, set it back in the middle and tighten it. I mean, these sinks are a nightmare. You might not be able to see in there properly, but basically the borehole is so tiny, and underneath that plug there's an immediate sort of 50-60 degree angle. It then runs at a slight angle down the back of all the cupboards to the back, but there's like a baffle or a piece of plastic that sticks down in the pipe, and then a catcher underneath. I think it's basically if you drop a necklace down there, or it just catches all the food that goes down the sink and stops it going to the waste tank, maybe, I don't know, but because of that it backs the water up. So when you pull the plug out of your sink, it actually takes about 8 or 9 minutes for the water to come out of your sink. It's crazy. We stand there literally watching it after we've washed up, just waiting for it to go down so we can put the bowl back in. It's crazy. So this didn't really show up last time in the video. I'm going to try better to show it today. The panel underneath the bathroom is wonky, and we do actually have water come out. The shower curtain is useless. I'll get onto that in a minute, but you can just sort of see the shadowing there maybe, but that panel's wonky, and when you take that off, that sort of shows underneath the shower and everything, I believe. But it's a bit annoying. It's quite a fixed panel. Check the door on any Bailey you're going to go and have a look at, because ours has got this big gap at the top, then it's reasonably flush in the middle, but it does bulge where they've drilled a hole that's too big in the door, and then as you get down the bottom, it sticks out quite a lot. To the eye it's a huge gap, but it's not so bad on the camera, to be honest. So you may all think I'm being dramatic, but I would kind of like a door that fits properly. We do have water coming through when we shower, but that is mainly down to the shower curtain. I mean, this shower curtain's only 6 months old, but the entire thing it's all frayed and ripped, and we haven't even used it that much, really. You know, we've been using showers on sites or convenient public showers in other countries. Yeah, it's just not very good. I know it's a shower curtain, we can buy another one, but it's just a shame. And when you put it round you, the door still gets soaked, even though the curtain is in front of it. So I don't know whether it's condensation or what, but water runs down the blooming door. And then when you're actually stood in the bathroom, you've got this plastic panel on the wall here, and because of where the tap is down here and where this is, when you pull the shower curtain around, it stops and it won't sit behind the taps. So basically water has to go on these, which I can't imagine they're waterproof, to be honest. It's the same as the rest of the van, really. While we're here, I've actually just noticed it wasn't like this before. The top of the bathroom walls have actually separated from the ceiling. For goodness sake. That was all sealed last time I looked, because I checked the whole bathroom. It's starting to go on the other side now as well. For God's sake. You just despair, honestly. I mean, if you actually took it in for all of the things that's wrong with it, it would be in the factory more than you have it on your drive. I mean, the way they've sealed the bathroom, I've resealed the whole thing from shoulder down. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. None of the shelves are straight. It's probably not going to show up on the camera because I've got this horizon balancing on, but I mean, you just despair, don't you? I mean, good quality silicone. They've used the tiniest bead possible. Oh, there's another one to add to the list. The main problem that the guy at the repairer said it needs to go back to the factory is the bathroom floor, because it's quite a major job. He said the entire bathroom's got to be taken out, which is basically the bathroom floor has come up. It's meant to be stuck down. Doesn't feel like there's anything underneath it, but over time that will just crack. And I was quite a bit. I was a couple of centimeters at least there. So either it hasn't been stuck down or it's come unstuck. I think it hasn't been stuck down, to be honest, but without seeing it for sure, I can't say that. So if you're going to go and look at a Bailey, or you're going to look at any motorhome, because don't forget, these are all owned by just a handful of companies. They use the same parts on everything. So if you're going to go and look at any motorhome, check the bathroom floor, make sure it's not coming up, because it's a big job. Check all the walls, check around the ceiling. Yeah, I mean, it's like you're buying a second-hand car, isn't it? You've got to check everything to make sure it'll be all right for the MOT. Well, when you buy a brand new motorhome and you spend £80,000 on it, you have to check everything, because they don't care. They just knock them out cheap. I understand, you know, we're trying to go lightweight here. Obviously, it's a 3.5 ton van. There's a lot in it. We've still got over 300 kilograms payload, which is brilliant. But yeah, you can fit lightweight parts. That's fine, but fit them properly. Do the screws up. Make sure they're straight. It's really not that difficult. I think also, unless you're about 6'6" or above, you might struggle with the toilet. There's a little plinth that you can put your feet on, but I mean, I'm quite tall. I'm almost 6 foot, I would say. Probably more like 5'10", but when I sit on it, the entire toilet moves. It's so wobbly. Probably weight, not height. Yes, I know, before you start writing the comments. But it's really high up, and it does swivel. I'll just show you the wobble there. The whole toilet wobbles, and you've got this little plinth. It does swivel, but obviously when you swivel, you can't sit on it. So I'm not really sure what the purpose of the swivel is. I mean, you can have it all the way that way and have it up, that's fine, but your legs are going to be against there. I don't really get it. So they made it swivel, but you can't use it. Maybe it's just to turn it out of the way while you're showering. Who knows? It's a rubbish toilet. We barely use it. I'll just show you quickly again as well, the runners for the bottom bed, the bottom bunk at the rear lounge. If you're going to look at one of these, check the runners. Almost everyone I know, they've either broke or come out. Some of them are more severe than ours. But the plastic runners just here, I mean, it's really flimsy rubbish. Also, these cupboards down here, I've got the same problem with the hinges. I don't know if you can hear it, but the hinges are all loose. Not great. Right, for this next one, I had to partially dismantle the rear sofas, which is why I'm a bit out of breath, because it's quite a mission. But basically, the waste pipe runs from the kitchen sink along the wall. There's the bit that I was on about. That just bunches up the water. It's an absolute pain in the backside. It just causes it to go so slow. It catches things, I understand, but to be honest, I think I might just take it away and run a straight pipe, because honestly, the amount of time it takes for that water to drain down the sink is ridiculous. It leaked water as well, which is why there's a bit of duct tape on there, but I'm going to fix that properly with some amalgamating tape. All of the joints, this side and the other side, were disconnected. They weren't actually attached. They just push in and fall straight back out. It's just solid plastic pipework. It's a load of rubbish. So I'll put some amalgamating tape around it that you'd use on like a car water hose or something. I did that probably back in February when we noticed it, because we didn't actually realise. I wondered why the garage kept getting wet. We thought we had some sort of severe leak in the back, and it turned out it was just a waste pipe. So all of our wastewater that was going down the plug hole in the sink was just pouring out all over our van floor and into our garage. It was awful, and it stunk. So it was a bit of a clean-up operation. Wrapped some amalgamating tape round both pipes, went to the other side to have a look, and then discovered it was exactly the same on the other side, so I had to wrap that side as well. So yeah, not great. So get under the sofas, have a good look, have a good check, because if that's happening anyone else's and water's been pouring on the floor, I mean, the floor could be rotten, who knows. Obviously these have got GRP floors underneath, but the top layer is still wood. They go on and on and on about how it's got a GRP floor, which makes you think, oh, brilliant. You know, the floor won't go rotten like it did in my old motorhome, but they've still got wood. It's still a sandwich with polystyrene, just the way they used to do it. All the difference is that they've put a layer of GRP underneath. Something else that's a bit strange, it just niggles me, so don't worry too much about it, but why put curtains in a van when they don't close? They're the wrong length. I've seen this in loads of Adamos, and even the Motorhome magazine guy, who obviously never says anything bad about any motorhome ever, because he's very impartial, he even noticed it. He said, what's the point in them not closing? I mean, they give you minor privacy, but there's still a gap. So bit of a waste of time. You've got blinds, you've got fly nets. If you're going to put curtains that close properly. The rear Remy blind is broken, but I fixed it because we were 3,500 miles away from the UK. I just fixed it with duct tape and string, and it seems to be okay. We will get it fixed, but I'll probably just wait until it breaks completely and then just order a new one. This is another one of my dodgy fixes, but it had to be done because it was driving us insane, and we were very far from home, so I just got on and did it. So underneath the carpet down here, you've got access to the waste tank, which is here. Basically, when you drive, if you go over about 30 miles an hour, this actually just lifts up and it just goes bang, 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 bang. There were some instances where we got to where we were going and this hatch was actually all the way over here and there was just a hole. There's underneath here, you've got the waste tank, but all around the edge of the waste tank, you can just see the floor outside. So we had wetness coming in from outside when it was raining and we were driving on the motorway. It was a right old mess. I mean, you can see the staining on the carpet where it was getting wet. Look, that dirt stain there is from outside when we were driving in the rain. It's absolutely mad. So anyway, I just run some sealant around it and sealed it shut. I'll obviously cut it with a knife when we come to the point of needing to clean the waste tank out, but it was a quick fix that had to be done. It doesn't close properly. I didn't have the stuff on me. It was the wrong time of day. I think it was even a blooming Sunday. So, you know, literally did it at the worst time. So I just siliconed it shut, solved the problem until we need to clean the tank, but we'll worry about that down the road. So the final thing we're going to look at is underneath the back of the van. I almost forgot about it, but it was an absolute pain. So basically the lever for discharging the waste out of the tank was screwed directly into the floor using what I could only describe as metal screws. Basically it wasn't attached, it was flapping about. They've cracked the bottom of the floor by screwing it into it. So I filled the hole with Sikaflex, screwed the screws back in and covered it in duct tape for now. But this was pretty much the minute we bought the van and got home, I noticed it. We're just waiting to get it done when it goes in for loads of other stuff. Well, that's it for this video. Hopefully it's helped people. I know it's some of the stuff that I've been over before, but we had two separate videos. And obviously some people would watch one and not the other, and watch the other and not the first one. So I wanted to put it all together just in one video so people can see the whole lot, really. If you're going to buy a Bailey, then obviously you can check all of these things now. You know what things go wrong. There are other things I'm sure other people have covered, but it gives you an idea. You know, nothing wrong with motorhoming. It's a wonderful life. Everything's brilliant. I'm not trying to say don't buy a motorhome and don't buy a new one, but just have a look around. We just assumed because it was new, it wouldn't have any problems. And that was probably the biggest mistake we made. So thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. And if you've got any more information about your motorhome or anything about the Baileys, please just drop a comment below. Everything's welcome.